what does professionalism actually mean to you? I thought a lot about this, and professionalism is basically a set of etiquette that you display in front of other people to sort of signal a certain belonging to a certain class. It isn't really much about sophistication, which is you exhibiting a personality that is based on a lot of knowledge that you've accumulated over the years. If you're well-traveled a person, then you're sophisticated if you've sort of integrated all those experiences into your personality. Professionalism, on the other hand, is just certain types of etiquette: how to sit, how to talk, how to dress. So your demeanor and your outward sort of appearance in terms of your demeanor, not really the internal machinery that you work on. I mean, it might occasionally leak into your integrity and your values, but professionalism is more about etiquette than sophistication. Why do we assume that work and life have to be separate? Because, I don't know actually. Because we're told, I think because we're told that work and life must be separate, that school life is different from home life, that you have to work hard and play hard. That's what we were told, that work is separate, play is separate, and you can't mix business with pleasure. I think it's reinforced through pop culture that that work is a separate entity and your life is a separate entity, when in reality we're going to come and see why that cannot be the case, why that cannot be a psychologically healthy case. Is workplace culture something we choose or something we inherit? Definitely something we inherit. In fact, workplace culture is shaped in a way that is that you have to adapt to. Like, the culture won't sort of assimilate you. You'll have to assimilate to the culture. You'll have to attune to the culture, and the culture won't assimilate you as you are. It will only assimilate you if you learn to play the games of the culture that already exists. Why is it that when we join a company, we're expected to adapt to it, but it rarely adapts to us? Because every single person is blaming the system. Like, that's how it is, that's how the system works. But no one is sort of starting to question that maybe we define the culture, maybe we make up the culture, maybe we propagate the culture by attuning ourselves to the system and then propagating the same onto the next generation of people that come and work at the company. Right, so how does all of this affect us, really? Like, that was the story bit, and now comes the more personal, slightly intense version of how does this affect us? What happens when you keep showing up as someone you're not? So our neural pathways, they get trained by reps rather than by any decision you take to split your personality into two. Like, one is a work personality and one is a home personality. It doesn't work like that. We're human beings. Our nervous systems adapt to the situation by according to the repetition of the behavior we exhibit in that situation. So if you're constantly bullshitting people at the office, like, for example, if you're a salesperson and if you like to bullshit people, then that will leak into your home life, and you would start to bullshit your family as well. Can you really switch off your work personality like a light switch? I don't think you can. I think it leaks directly into your home life. If you act a certain way 8 to 10 hours a day, who are you becoming? You become what you act as over time. It's like fake it till you make it, but in this case, you are faking it, faking being this person that you think is just your work-life personality, but then you become that because you're practicing doing that 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, or maybe 6 days a week, and for years, for months and years, you keep practicing being this person that you don't want to be. So you will become it in some senses or the other. Are you working for the company or learning how to win within it? It's definitely learning how to win within the company. It's like it's dog eat dog even within the company, and you're sort of competing with other people in your team. You're not really cooperating with them. I mean, most jobs make you compete even within the organization. So it's not like you're working there as part of a team, but as someone who has to win, who has to keep justifying why he or she has the job in the first place. When did work stop being about creating value and start becoming a social game? Simon Sinek spoke about this. Jack Welch, yes. He basically came up with this theory about what's good for business and what's bad for business, and he sort of, I think it was Jack Welch who sort of popularized the idea of what's good for the company and what's bad for the company. So and sort of made people be ultra individualistic and an anti team effort. What does it cost you to constantly perform instead of just being? I think it leaves a pretty big toll on your nervous system, for sure. Do you think repeated behavior shapes identity? Yes, it does. So it was the alternative. What would a workplace look like where you didn't have to fake anything? I think it would look like a place where memetics are allowed, like you're able to express yourself in a more authentic version rather than, the way that you're told to suppress your own sort of personality in favor of the dominant narrative of the company, the dominant personality of the company that the company requires of you. Not only would it let you express yourself more, I think it would also let you prioritize the kind of work that you'd like to do. So there wouldn't be so much of a power struggle as to get the preferred project that you'd like. What if culture wasn't fixed? What if culture wasn't fixed, but something that evolved with every new person? I think that would be good too, because then it would let you sort of genetically mutate the bad behaviors out. So it's like, the culture sort of itself self-organizes around the new people that enter the company, which is, as of now, in today's day and age, not allowed. Like, they have strict sort of measures around how to socially maintain the status quo, the same culture as before. Why don't workplaces allow people to connect beyond just work tasks? I think one of the very big sort of threats that they take it to heart. The biggest thing that companies have against workplace, socialization of the workplace beyond work tasks is that people will form like an employees union and challenge the company when it comes to salaries and the way that things are being done and whatnot. And I think it's just that they don't want workers to unionize. And if you think about it, capitalism, like unionization, is probably a very capitalistic concept, even though it might not seem like it, because capitalism is where everyone has equal bargaining power and they're able to coordinate and, be able to make trades that are based on negotiations. But just think about it. Every company, multinational corporation, be it multinational corporation or even small firms, every place we see, I mean, this is obviously a bit more valid for the bigger firms, but all of these, they have the dominant card, the dominant trump card to sort of push you out of salary negotiations. I mean, you're not calling the shots, so to say, if you get what I mean. Think about college clubs. Why did they feel more human than offices? Because there was no one regulating your interactions outside of the institutional hours, outside of education. Nobody was like sort of coming down to your club. Like maybe it's like a math and physics club. Maybe it's an aero modeling club where you're playing remote controlled planes. So nobody's coming down there to tell you that you can't do this. But in workplaces, this does happen. I think you sign contracts which say that you won't turn unionization against the corporate workplace. What if companies allowed people to bond over shared interests, not just shared roles? I mean, that's exactly how you would build a very strong and loyal workforce. I think companies are treating employees in bad faith, in the sense that they're looking to extort something out of employees rather than rather than seeing them as human beings with needs and desires for connection and community. They're seeing them as human resources, right? That's my yeah, as human resources, and they're not seeing them as human, as co-creators of the company who are creating value for the company, but as assets to be managed, or in some cases liabilities to be managed, because that's what human resources is infamous for. That they try to manage human beings like they were liabilities, rather than supporting human people as individual human beings who need support and help and resources. Would you feel more loyal to a company that lets you belong, not just perform? Definitely, for sure. So maybe the real question isn't how do we retain talent. I think the real question is how do we sort of question our own assumptions about what it means to employ other people. Like, if you're treating them just as pawns in a game, I think you're bound to fail.